The folks who come to my channel and contribute are the very best on YouTube, bar none. Throughout this entire investigation, they have showed links to the issues in the Black Sea, going all the way back to the Liberty, and this allegation now about Russian interference and Russian jamming and spoofing. I think we're going to be able to show clearly there was an issue. That the Uss Fitzgerald collision with the ACX Crystal was the result of Russian interference. This is an article from The Drive, mid-October, where it details a Russian military exercise that caused all sorts of problems in Northern Europe, Finland, and I think Denmark, one of the two. They were two countries right by each other up there that had phones go down and GPS get locked up, and it was all a result of this military exercise. Now, allegedly, it wasn't intentional by the Russians, but who knows? Who knows? And NATO has been worried about this for a good long time. This is Washington Post, and October 26th of this year, very recently, and this goes all the way back, this North Korean issue where they're doing the exact same thing, goes back to April of 2016. So we're going to be able to show in this video, through the report, the confusion level on the bridge and how right in the report we can see that there may have been an invisible ship that was causing all of this nonsense. So we're going to go to, real quick, and we've done this a million times. This is, of course, the AIS track of the ACX Crystal. We are at the 1:15 moment and time. This is, of course, GMT 1615, correlates 1:15 local time here in Japan. Here, meaning here in the video, not here where I'm at. And we're going to start here because in the report, we're going to show how at this time, this is when things got really weird. Now, 0110, very top here, watchstanders unsuccessfully attempted to initiate a radar track on the crystal. Either the crystal's invisible or they're having a giant electronic problem on board. 0115, crystal was closing Fitzgerald's intended track at a high rate of speed. Okay, so that's fact. That's 0115. Now, the reason I brought the map up first is so that we can show. Okay, course was 86 degrees here, 18.4 knots. Okay, this course was closing a track of a ship doing 190 up here somewhere. We're going to back out, show this a little bit bigger, because it's important to show that we had the Wanhai and we had the ACX Crystal. Up here we had the Waco, but where this ship is, its course not even relevant. But down here we don't see any other. We have the Star Hansa going this way. We got the Nice Maru going that way. Down here another little golden something or other. None of them relevant. The two ships here we're going to talk about, Wanhai 266, ACX Crystal, running parallel, have been for a good long time. The reason we're at the 1:15 mark, because I'm going to play this forward and show here how something changes. Okay, boom, right there. At the 1:18 mark, we see the ACX Crystal now on a course of 70 degrees toward where the Fitzgerald is coming from. This is key, because in the report it says 1:15, crystal was closing Fitzgerald's intended track at high rate of speed. 1:17, the Fitzgerald's officer of the deck plotted a radar track on a vessel thought to be the Crystal and calculated that Crystal would pass 1,500 yards from Fitzgerald on the right starboard side. It is unknown if the officer of the deck was tracking the Crystal or another commercial vessel. This is important when we get down to another place in 125. The watchstander responsible for immediate support to the officer of the deck, the junior officer of the deck, reported sighting Crystal visually and noted that Crystal's course would cross Fitzgerald's track. The officer of the deck continued to think that Crystal would pass at 1,500 yards from Fitzgerald. So here's argument now. We have one guy using electronics. It says one thing, and one guy saying his eyes are telling him another. We had talked about this dead reckoning thing, where one guy says eyeballs, no, sorry, we're going to cross these guys, and another guy saying, no, we're going to be 3/4 of a mile away. That's a pretty big difference. So 122, junior officer of the deck sighted Crystal again and made the recommendation to slow. The officer of the deck responded that slowing would complicate the contact picture. So clearly, the junior officer of the deck here seems to be a fairly experienced sea person. Why he would be reprimanded for lack of basic seamanship when he knew. And he was attempting to communicate that there was going to be a problem. 0125, Crystal was, now remember, the difference between 0115 and 0117, the course of the ACX Crystal is entirely different. Okay, from 117 to 120, the course of the ACX Crystal has changed. So they're not talking about apples and apples here. Now they're talking about apples and oranges. That's very important in this. Now, 125, here is the smoking gun. Crystal was approaching Fitzgerald from the starboard side at 3 nautical miles. Fitzgerald watchstanders at this time held 2 other commercial vessels in addition to Crystal. One was calculated to have closest approach at 2,000 yards, and the other was calculated to risk collision. No contact reports were made to the commanding officer, and no additional course speed determinations were made on these vessels. Where's the third vessel? Where's the third vessel? There is no AIS report here. What's the other contact? It's not the Waco. There's no way they're talking about the Waco. This ship is here going this direction. There's a third vessel out there. And it's not here. It's not on AIS. Anyway, back to the report. 125. All right, we're going to go down to still 125. Officer of the deck noticed Crystal rapidly getting closer and considered a turn to 240 true. Thank you, by the way, Navy guys, for what the capital T stood for. This is important. Now, 0125, the officer of the deck now is like, crap, my radar is wrong. My electronics are telling me this, but now I'm noticing this other vessel, and I'm considering a massive turn from 190 degrees to 240 degrees. 50 degrees hard to starboard. This is a wake-up moment for this officer of the deck. 2 minutes later, officer of the deck ordered course to the right to course 240 true, but rescinded the order within a minute. Instead, the officer of the deck ordered an increase to full speed and a rapid turn to port. These orders were not carried out. Boy, I tell you what, that alone right there, that 0127 moment, that could be emblematic of a problem that could take up hours of video. 0129, the bosun mate of the watch, a more senior supervisor on the bridge, took over the helm and executed the orders at 0129. Now that's also important because 0129, now the order has been executed. This ship has the ability to turn very, very rapidly. This is a destroyer. This is not a cargo vessel. 0129, that's when it was executed. Now let's go back to the map. We are at 0119. So here we go. We're going to go forward, and I'm going to call out times as it moves. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, this is 2857, 2917. Now at this point, right here, the destroyer has made a hard turn to port. Full speed turn to port. Now watch. Why would the ACX Crystal do that? If this ship, if you're coming onto a ship and it makes this turn, hard turn to port, the only reason you turn this way is if you want to continue the collision course. Now, let's back out here. Talking about 3 ships. The Baichi Bridge never moved. We watched this ship just sit there at anchor. So they're not talking about this this is not the third contact. It's not the Waco. It's not this. The Navy put this Merskivora into the little map, the incorrect one they had to fix. But this thing's a long way away. Got to remember something. This little island up here is a 1/4 mile. So there's no way this ship could have been at that time in their picture. There's a secret third ship here. In this region, there's something going on. Who knows? Maybe the Baichi Bridge. Maybe they were the ones. Who knows? They could. I still think something's weird about the way they disappeared, but another story. So we see actions here that are completely not in the norm. Because the one high didn't make the turn that the ACX crystal did to stay in the separation scheme. Why did they not? If this was something where, you know, you come in and that's auto-programmed and then you make this turn, why wouldn't they have done it as well? And once again, as of 1:30, neither Fitzgerald nor Crystal made an attempt to establish radio communications or sound the danger signal. How the hell they could have known that about what the crystal was or wasn't doing is ridiculous. So 0129, the turn was made. And 013034, I guess a minute and a half later, that's when the collision occurred. Now, we've all gone to the video, at least most of us have. If not, I'm sure someone can direct you to the link that shows the maneuvering capability of an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. There's a video out here on YouTube, and I don't have the link, but maybe I'll find it and put it down in the description, where it shows this thing and what it has the ability to do. That this thing can absolutely turn on a damn dime and get out of things ways. And I mean, in a matter of literally minutes, it can do a 180. So, something strange. Something is very, very strange. And as a result of the investigation and everybody coming here, you know, we've covered a lot of ground. We absolutely have. But it's sometimes, and that gives us a problem, to remember back to June what the initial story was, what the original report was, and how many experts have now been proven completely wrong. Absolutely and totally wrong. I mean, guys that were in the Navy. So, and I'm going to show that. We're going to get out of here pretty quick, but I just want to show you that sometimes just being in the Navy doesn't make you an expert. Look, me just being in the Army doesn't make me an expert on all Army things. There's whole sections of the Army, what I know about could fit in a thimble. I mean, I had my little, corner of the world. So simply serving in one particular branch doesn't make you an expert on every aspect of that whole branch, and we're going to show that here real quick, and I'll let you guys get on with your weekend. Gizmodo. This goes back to June. I've scrolled down here. The person speaking is and I'm going to get this right, Gary Wetzel is an experienced military and aviation writer who has authored 2 books examining the combat operations of the A-10 Warthog. He also served over 6 years in the U.S. Navy as a sonar technician aboard USS Philadelphia and USS Dallas, just so you know who's speaking here. So, anyway, here's him. Most likely, the Crystal was traveling faster than the destroyer and headed in the same direction. But by being on a perpendicular angle to the destroyer, the Crystal would have had provided a constant bearing to Fitzgerald with decreasing range. It is very possible the contact number assigned to the Crystal had been at the same bearing for some time and deemed not a threat while the range was steadily decreasing. The ship's crew could very well have been focused on other maneuvering contacts who may have appeared to present a more significant threat to the ship and missed the closing of the Crystal until it was too late. That would explain why the captain was not on the bridge. So this, and you can read through this article if you want. He makes all sorts of other assertions that are just ridiculous. Absolutely, totally false. And he said there also should have been at least 3 lookouts manning the phones for port starboard and on the stern of the Fitzgerald. In the report it says there were, but they were all on the port side. I don't know about that. I mean, that's what they're reporting. I do know about that, but it just seems odd. So you can read through this. And there were, and we covered this again, there was another guy that had said that this was going to clearly be assigned as a something that was avoidable. And I guess in that sense he's right. But what we know now, and the things that we can see now from this track, as I finish here, I'm just going to go ahead and jump this up to 2x to show you how many different course changes were made by this ship in this time. We already have those 2. There's 3, 4, 5. And we're all so familiar with this. And when we look at the issue with the USS Porter, we saw argument between 2 guys on the bridge as well, and how that led to that problem. And it seems like we have that here. But it looks like at one point there was an epiphany by the guy in charge, and he decided to take corrective action. And for what we know about the capabilities of an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, that should have been enough to get out of the way. And this particular event by the ACX Crystal, I have never seen anything like this. Seriously, they should enter this thing in the America's Cup. And also the final thing that I didn't go over, at least in the report, how it was just this magical coincidence that it took 45 minutes for both the crew of the Fitzgerald and the crew of the ACX Crystal to report. And they reported the event at almost exactly the same time, and 24 to 48 hours later, the guy in charge at the time, Admiral O'Coin, was completely mistaken about the events leading up to it, which may have meant that they didn't have any electronics record of it, meaning that more than likely there was some kind of an electronics attack against the USS Fitzgerald that wiped all that clean. So, we're going on now 20 different course changes by this giant lumbering cargo vessel. And speed changes, and this one up here was fun because it went backward. It decided to do a complete 180 plus 90, 270 degree turn. And away it goes. So, anyway, we will go ahead and let you guys get on with your weekend. But this report on the Fitzgerald has a lot of information that really points to the fact that the U.S. was attacked, and no one's reporting it. So, like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for your patience, folks. We will see you next time. Thank you.